From the WDWL TV multiplex, live from the Grumpy Old Man studio, we bring you the pride of the station, the Two Grumpies, starring the Grumpy Old Man, me, and the Grumpy Vulture. Take your bow. Very nice, very nice. Back in your corner. You know where you belong. Okay. Look at the camera. There you go. Greetings, friends. First of all, in the title, you see 55. Well, Grumpy is now up to 55 subscribers. Hey! Whoever you are, number 55, thank you. It's greatly appreciated. It would be nice if we could get like 945 more, but I'm not complaining for the end of January. If not, it don't make any difference. We are now up to 55 subscribers. So let me make looks a little confoculated. There, okay. And we need a little more light on the subject there. There we go. So, I was watching more of the eaglets today. Oh my God. And we were getting shots looking directly in their eyes because they happened to be looking at the camera. Oh my God, those little eaglets are adorable. And remember, I told you yesterday I was going to go in the chat and ask which bird was which. As I kind of guessed, the larger of the two is Dasher, and the little guy is Dancer. And I'll tell you what, today, that little guy wasn't taking any shit off of his brother. Oh, yeah, they got into a little bit of a scrap in the nest while the parents were gone. I don't know whether he was trying to push him over the edge, because in some, I don't know anything about eagles, but I know in some bird species, the other one out of the nest, sure what bird species it is, but I've actually watched a YouTube video where the larger of the two birds literally booted around like, where's Junior? So, I don't know if eagles do this. All I know is when the little chub, oh, Jesus Christ, the feathers were flying. But as soon as the parents returned, they were two little angels. Of course, there was food. And today, both parents were feeding the two equally. So, I don't know if yesterday was just a fluke or what, but I had it on all day again today. And shithead over there, every time mom or dad, whoever was doing the feeding, ripped off a piece and, was hovering over the beaks, shithead over here is like, He hasn't quite got it down that he's watching a monitor. He's not on the outside of the nest looking in. Yeah, like an idiot. I should have filmed him. Every time food arrived, Unbelievable. But it was nice that when I asked my question, I got an immediate response. It is a very nice chat. I kind of was watching it during the day, and people are respectful of one another. It's a very well run chat. And like I say, I typed in which of the birds is Dasher? And it wasn't 30 seconds. I got a reply. I think it was either Ellen or Eileen typed in. The larger bird is Dasher. So if you go in on YouTube and you watch the little eaglets, you can enter the chat. It don't cost you anything. You can just type in a question and they will gladly answer it if it's within reason, if they know the answer. So, bar up in YouTube, you type in window of wildlife and it'll bring you right up. So if you're into watching little bald eaglets, you're going to enjoy it. Like I say, I have this monitor over here running all day long, just watching the birds. And what is nice is the camera operator changes angles every now and then. Like today, for a while they zoomed in. Sometime they'll zoom out. Today, they kind of turned the camera to show us that one of the parents was sitting on a limb away from the nest, just out of camera sight. So, I think there is always a parent watching the two eaglets while another one's on a food trip. I could be wrong. I haven't done any research on bald eagles. Just my conjecture that I think that nest is guarded at all times. Don't take my word for it. As a matter of fact, I might be typing that into the chat tomorrow. So we're going to find out. But otherwise, it was fun. I had a good time watching the little baby eaglets. And then I went grocery shopping. And holy yatchapuck, it ruined my day. Oh my God. It seems every time I go shopping, another item that I purchase goes up in price. Last week, I bought a single box of saltine crackers. Saltines come in a big box, 4 rows. I bought the small. It has, I think, 6 individual packets inside. I'll have to check. Maybe it's 4. Last week, $1.18. Today, $1.25. Now, they weren't on sale last week. A quart of half and half. Last week, $3.29. Today, $3.88. And then, holy fuck, eggs. Small eggs, $5.25 a dozen. Small. Medium, $5.85 a dozen. Extra large, $6.29 a dozen. Jumbo, $7.99 a dozen for jumbo eggs. Jesus Christ. In order to buy a dozen or 2 dozen eggs, you need a finance manager standing next to the egg case. This is getting ridiculous. And friends, it's going to get fucking worse. Because Mexico and Canada have already threatened price increases with these tariffs. We get 70%. Why does that keep doing that? Pardon me, friends. I'm having a confuculation with that tablet here. I don't know why it keeps doing that. As I was saying, we get 70% of our produce out of Mexico. And the largest item that we purchase out of Mexico is avocados. Avocados, last week, I didn't buy any, I just looked. In the store I was at, were $1.20 a piece. I can remember about a year ago, avocados were like 29 cents a piece. Prices are going to get to the point where we can't afford goddamn luxury. Well, a luxury will be buying a goddamn tomato or head of lettuce. I'm not getting into politics. But this is not the way to solve a problem. Yeah, we've got an immigration problem and a drug problem. This isn't the way to solve it. By putting tariffs on that are going to jack the goddamn prices of produce out of sight. Not to mention pissing off Canada. 70% of our crude oil comes from Canada. Gasoline prices are gonna skyrocket. That's not the way to solve the problem. Putting a 25% tariff on goods, unemployment's going to go berserk. Factories are going to be closing because they already said the price of auto parts is going to go sky high. And our factories get auto parts from all over the world. We're going to be in a real crisis here. And I don't know how seniors on Social Security are going to survive. You know, it's bad enough utilities are going up. Cost of medication has gone up. Now, food prices are going to go berserk. We're going to be paying $10 a loaf of bread. I see it coming. It's scary. I remember at one time buying a pound of ham. Now, back in the day, we didn't have 47 different kinds of ham. Black forest, green forest, pink forest, smoked ham, chopped ham, this ham, that. Jesus, you look. I said to the guy at the meat counter, can I just have some ham? Well, what kind of ham you want? Black forest ham, ham off the bone, ham on the bone, ham bone. Yeah, you want low sodium, high sodium, black forest, green forest, pink forest. I just want ham. I remember paying like $1.59 a pound for ham, and I was like, oh man, that's getting expensive. Now, $7.99 a pound for lunch meat? For ham? American cheese, $5.99 a pound. It's getting to the point you can't afford to eat. And it's going to get worse. You know, certain government officials, they don't give a fuck. They're making, $300,000 a year. Have pockets full of money. Not seniors on a meager Social Security. It's ridiculous. I love to sit down with an avocado. I slice it in half, remove the seed, a little bit of olive oil. Don't tell my doctor. A sprinkle of salt, some pepper, and just eat it out of the shell. Can't afford to do that anymore. An avocado today is now going to be a fucking luxury. Where a year ago, it was a weekly purchase. And I guarantee a head of lettuce, tomatoes, any fruit you want to name is going to be so goddamn high, you can't afford to buy a dozen. You're going to be buying one or two. I never thought I would see the day where instead of buying a bag with maybe 8 or 10 oranges in it, you're going to be buying one apple, one orange, one pear, because you can't afford to buy 6, 8, 10, 12 like we used to. Like I say, every time I go shopping, perfect example. 2 weeks ago, Progresso soup was $2.50 a can. Today, $2.79. And it wasn't on sale. That was the normal shelf price. $2.50. Today, $2.79. And it's not going to end. I can guarantee the next time I go shopping, which will be probably in 2 weeks. That can will be $3 or more. A can. Back in the day, soup, mainly tomato soup and a grilled cheese sandwich, were a cheap but somewhat healthy lunch. I don't know too many kids that would turn down a bowl of tomato soup and a grilled cheese sandwich. And most of the kids that I grew up with did the same thing I did. Dip that grilled cheese in the soup. Peanut butter and jelly used to be what we call the mileage food. A cheap, inexpensive way to basically quell an appetite. Little kids come in, Mom, I'm hungry. Here, wait, I'll make you a peanut butter and jelly. Used to be a cheap meal. $5 and up for a jar of peanut butter. $4 and up for a jar of jelly. And a loaf of bread. $3.50 and up. That ain't cheap eating anymore. I'm glad I'm not raising a family today. I don't know how people with 2, 3, 4, 5 kids are doing it. They're probably doing like I'm doing, cutting back on items that a couple of weeks ago were a normal purchase. Now, it's going to be a luxury. I'm going to stand there and go, gee, I'd like a tomato with my sandwich. But if I buy the tomato, I can't afford the lunch meat or the cheese or the loaf of bread. So I'll pass on the tomato. And there's nothing to me that gives a sandwich a real kick than a slice of fresh tomato and a little lettuce. Tomatoes, lettuce, going to be a luxury. Not going to be a normal purchase. Because when you get to the cash register, it's going to hit you in the wallet. It hit me in the wallet today. I couldn't believe it. I bought all of the items I buy every 2 weeks, except for one. I needed a bag of Epsom salts. That's the only thing I added. And that was $5.18 for the bag. Normally, I'm looking at around $38 to $42. Today, $55.18. Now, mind you, I only added one $5 item. So my $42 worth of purchase today was $50. Plus the $5 bag of Epsom salts. Yeah, $55 today. And the $5.18 Epsom salt was the only item that I added to the list. So in 2 weeks, my grocery cost went up $8 in 2 weeks. Because I have a normal list. Every 2 weeks, I buy the same items. And my grocery cost went up $8. I am going to have to look that list over and see if there's an item I can do without. And that's the way we're going to have to start shopping. Because certain items are going to be a luxury. Now, we're shopping to survive. Shopping to survive. I'm going to have to relook at my food purchase. The major problem is, if I would start eating like junk food, I'm going to get hell from my doctors. Doctors are trying to keep you on a healthy path. But trying to keep you on the healthy path is eating good, nutritious food. Grumpy can't afford good, nutritious food anymore. I'll tell you right now, it's almost 3 years since I had a steak. I used to eat steak at least twice a month. And I'm not talking a prime cut porterhouse. I'm talking maybe a strip steak or a T-bone, whatever was cheaper. Can't afford to eat a steak anymore. Because when I'd buy a steak, my meal would be steak with sauteed onions, maybe sauteed mushrooms on top of the steak, a side salad, a baked potato, butter, sour cream, chives, some bacon bits. Can't afford that meal anymore. I'm going to have to take a look at what basically I'm going to eat for a meal. Now, if it wouldn't fuck with my cholesterol and other things, I'd get me maybe 2 baked potatoes. I could make a meal. And I'm talking average sized potato. I'm not talking them big jumbos that I used to get. 2 average size. I could survive. I could make a meal out of 2 baked potatoes, some butter, sour cream, chives, some bacon bits. I could handle that. I didn't bother to look at the price of potatoes today. And those used to be a cheap food. Not anymore. I have to go to one of the other supermarkets because I want to pop in and price eggs. I'm going to price potatoes tomorrow. And then I'm going to pay close attention to their pricing. Oh, I could easily sit down to 2 baked potatoes and be well satisfied. But what's my fucking cholesterol going to look like at the end of the month if I have a couple of baked potatoes a couple times a week? I'm to the point I don't know what to eat anymore. I really don't. I mean, I used to be a big steak, pork chop person, get some nice thick cut pork chops, the ones that you get, stuff them. Not anymore. If I want pork chops, I'm going to have to look at the ones they cut paper thin. That's basically the way seniors are going to have to eat today. Some stores do cut extra thin steak, extra thin pork chops. Same thing, meatloaf. Oh my God. I love meatloaf. Because meatloaf used to be a cheap meal. Not today. Especially if you get that goddamn, what do they call it, 70-30. By the time you cook it down, there ain't nothing left of the meat except a shitload of grease. I don't want to eat that way. I used to get ground chuck all the time. Can't afford it. A good cut of meat, can't afford it. It is so sad. It is just so. I'm going to have to look at what cuts of meat that would be basically tenderized after cooking in a crock pot. Like beef stew or Swiss steak. A crock pot, well, a lot of times you could take a fucking piece of shoe leather and put it in a crock pot and end up with something that you could cut with a fork. And I've got a small, I don't know what size it is, quart and a half, I think, maybe 2 quart at the most. It's a small one. I bought it at Family Dollar. As a matter of fact, I think it's 2 quart. Maybe a quart and a half. The more I think about it, I think it's a quart and a half. I had bought one before Christmas. $10. I used the hell out of it. After Christmas, I was looking back in the bargain bin, and there was one left for $5. Brand new, still in a box, nothing wrong with it. So I snatched it up for a spare in case my number one burns out. And I'm at the cash register, and the woman behind me spotted it, and she goes, "Where did you get that?" I was like, "Back in the bargain bin." She goes, I'm going to get me one for $5. I said, too late. Last one. Then she wanted it. She says, I'll give you $7 for it. I'm like, gee, I don't even get 3 feet out of the store and I'm making $2 on the crock pot already. I told her, she says, nah, sorry. And what's nice about it is the crock comes out. It's not one of those where the crock is embedded in the heating unit. I use the hell out of it. I make chili in it, beef stew, Swiss steak. I love it. But I'm going to have to research what cheaper cuts of meat I can use to still make somewhat healthy meal. Because I can't afford that. I'm not even going to say expensive. I'll say the grade B meat. I can't afford the grade A. It's sad that we got to start shopping that way. Didn't I like this? You know, this month, I have to see a battery of doctors because my new primary care doctor's turning me inside out. Doctors from head to toe, CT scans, MRIs, x-rays, every doctor on the... Oh, I got a list. Believe me, I got more appointments than China's got rice. I can't afford to start eating basically crap food. But I'm going to have to explain to my doctors. I got to figure a way of surviving. Because prices are just getting ridiculous. I was chatting with a friend of mine today, and she said basically the days of having fun money are gone. Every paycheck you'd have a little bit of what's called fun money. Maybe go to a movie, go out to dinner. Nope, no more of that. No more fun money. Now it's basic survival money. And it's going to get worse, people. Once these tariffs go into effect, holy shit, prices are going to go sky high. Both Mexico and Canada are threatening the shit out of us already. They're even threatening not to ship some certain items. Mexico has already said, well, we might cut off your avocados. Everybody's like, no, I got a Super Bowl party coming up. I need to make guacamole. Well, you ain't going to be making no gookie moldy if avocados are $5 a piece. Either that or it's going to be a small bowl of gookie moldy, I'll tell you that. And salsa. Yeah, they're threatening to stop shipping certain food items already. And the tariffs don't go into effect for another couple of days. Mexico said, oh, we're going to take a close look at what we're going to ship and what it's going to cost you now. We're going to be in a goddamn food war. Instead of smuggling drugs across the border, we're going to start smuggling fruit and vegetables. No joke, it's coming to that. You're going to see more and more people standing around fruit and produce stands, waiting for them to go through items and put the kind of questionable shit aside that they would be, throwing away. I can see it now. People are going to be shopping out of dumpsters. Take a look like, if I chop most of this head of lettuce away, I might get enough for a handful. The days of making a chef salad for dinner are no longer going to be that big bowl. It's going to be a little bowl. 2 or 3 forkfuls. There we go. And it's going to be trickled down, It's going to hit your condiments. Your your jars of pickles and olives and all of this shit. Everything's going to just blow up price-wise. I don't know how people are going to survive. I really don't. I never thought I would see this day come where I would have to sit back and consider like a box of cornflakes a luxury. Back in the day, box of cornflakes was like 50 cents. Cornflakes used to be a cheap breakfast. Not anymore. I love Post grape nuts. Box of Post grape nuts used to be like 90 cents. I looked today, $3.89 for that small box, which is enough for maybe 3 bowls of cereal. And then you got to figure, once you put the grape nuts in the bowl, you got to put milk in there. Price of milk is going out of sight. I just do not know how people are going to survive after these tariffs kick in. Not to mention, China's getting hit with a tariff too. All of our electronics come from China. A lot of our toys come from China. We don't get any food items. So, if you're looking to buy a flat screen TV, you better buy it tomorrow. Because that TV next week could be twice the price. Oh, this is going to go insane. I can see it coming. It's sad right now that my Social Security puts me like right at poverty level. I never thought, after working all those years, that I would be considered living at poverty level. I thought I'd be doing okay. I was going to say fairly well, but no. I was going to say doing okay. Now, I'm going to just barely fucking survive. And I'm not the only one. I know some seniors that are getting less than I am a month, Social Security. I got a friend. He's applying for a part-time job. McDonald's, Burger King, wherever. Because he basically can't, he's barely surviving right now. It's sad. You work all your life. You look forward to retirement. only to have to get a goddamn job after you retire just to survive. I think I better step off my soapbox for a while. I can feel my blood pressure going up. And all you youngsters out there going, what's a soapbox? And why are you standing on it? It's a klitschy. Gargle it. It's a klitschy. Standing on our soapbox. Gargle it. It'll explain. Because back in the day, like back in the 20s and 30s, if somebody wanted to get the attention of a group of people, they would have to elevate themselves. And soap used to come in wooden crates. And those wooden crates were everywhere. So a guy would grab one of them wooden crates and turn it over and stand on it. And that's where the klitschy came from, standing on your soapbox. I know all you youngers are going, Jesus Christ, Grumpy, you're losing your fucking marbles. Research back in the 20s, 30s. You'll understand if you can read. I know a lot of these kids nowadays, they just shove them out of school. They don't care if they can read, add, subtract. The other day, I was watching a court video. And this kid was being honest as can be. He couldn't add. He was 22 years old. He couldn't add, couldn't subtract, could barely count past 10. Of course, he quit school at the 10th grade, but you would figure by 10th grade, you would know how to read and write, add, subtract. No. Because I guarantee he was one of them that sat in school and was like sleeping on his desk. And yeah. There was one. He didn't know how to spell his middle name. The judge looked at him and said, "What?" He said, "Well, I don't know if it's," he said, "I never saw my birth certificate. And my parents never said anything. I don't know if my middle name Lewis is spelled Lewis. He said Luis. Leuis. He said, "I don't know how to spell my middle name. It's Lewis." That's sad. But that's what our education system is turning out today. So, you young kids, maybe you're lucky. Use Siri. Because Siri will explain it, and that way you won't have to read it. Say, "Siri, what's a soapbox?" And Siri will tell you. Or Alexa. That's where these kids, they're lucky today. If they can't read it, there's an AI app that'll read it to you. That's sad. When you have to rely on your cell phone to have something explained to you because you can't read it. Oy vey. Oh, Grumpy, I think it's getting close to playing your outro music and relaxing. Your blood pressure's going up. Even the bird back there's chattering, saying, calm down, asshole. Call me asshole one more time, I'm going to trade you for a crow. Fucking bird. I'll fix you. You can't watch the eaglets tomorrow. Oh, yeah, tomorrow he'll be kissing my ass. Jumping around. Eaglets, you know. He'll be giving me that eaglet sign when the parents land with food. No. You might have just screwed yourself for tomorrow. I'll turn the monitor around so you can't see it. Because he likes watching the little eaglets. So does Grumpy. It shows my softer side. Yes, I have a softer side. Like I explained, I like nature programs. And this is even better because it's live nature. I'm watching our national bird that has produced 2 more because they're endangered. So now, in this nest, hopefully, if they grow up, we've just added at least 2 more bald eagles to the species because they are endangered. They've been on the endangered list for years. I think most eagles are. But it's watching these 2 it's a kick. It really is. At times, I would rather watch the little babies than watch my YouTube videos. You know, the court videos or interrogation videos. Yeah. Anything with them, especially like when I used to be able to get National Geographic. And they'd be filming in Africa, and there'd be all the little baby lions, you know. The only thing that really used to hurt is if a new male showed up and the old male of the, you know, that took care of his harem of females maybe got killed or got run off. So a new male comes in and takes over. Well, the sad thing is, he doesn't want any of the offspring of that other male around. And he literally kills the litter. And I'll tell you what, before I lost my National Geographic, this male comes in and he sits down. And all the cubs were like 3 months old. And they ran up to him and they wanted to play. Well, he ended up killing them all. And they didn't understand. He was batting at one, and it kept coming back. It thought it was playing until he reached down and grabbed it by the head and then flung it. That I don't like to see. But it's nature, people. It does happen every day. But it was cute seeing, you know, there was like 3 litters and probably 12, 14 little cubs. Oh, they were adorable. Yes, Grumpy does like little babies. I watched the other day a documentary on meerkats. Oh, they are the craziest looking things. And they do some pretty neat shit. Plus, they're very family oriented. They watch out and take care of one another. And if the little ones are still in the nursing stage, a mother meerkat don't care whether those are hers or not. But the little baby meerkats are so cute. They're adorable. They look something like meerkats. Yeah. I'm trying to think of the pet. Oh, it slips my mind. There's a pet that resembles a meerkat. I can't think of what the hell it is. Oh my God, it sucks to get old. I can picture the damn thing. As a matter of fact, the one day at the pet shop, I was playing with one. They're like a cat on crack. God, I wish I could think of what the hell they call them. Yeah, they're like cats on crack. They're crazy. And meerkats are similar to them. Last night, I was watching river otters. Those are some crazy animals. And neat. They call them wolves of the river. They're pretty nasty if you piss them off. But oh, they were the craziest thing. I loved watching that program. So I'm big into nature stuff. Another thing that amazes me is watching, like, alligators, where a mother alligator will put all the little ones in her mouth to protect them. And, you know, as vicious and as strong as those jaws are, she will gently close her mouth to keep them from getting out. And she might have 12 or 14 of them in her mouth. And she'll take them farther downriver to protect them. Amazing. But piss that mother off, oh, you'll be lunch. Yeah, you don't want to piss a mother alligator off. You don't want to mess with her kids. No way. Talk about protective. Holy shit. But if she thinks they're in danger, she scoops them all up and takes them downriver in her mouth. And it's kind of cool because you'll see little heads poking out looking. Instead of teeth, all you see is little tiny alligators or crocodiles. The other night, oh, I tell you what, I was watching a documentary on the Galapagos Islands. Wow. There's some big beasts on those islands. Holy shit. Definitely some lizards you don't want to piss off. Lizards you don't want to be around. Especially when they look like goddamn dinosaurs. Okay, Grumpy. Time to get off the nature program. National Geographic ain't sponsoring you. But yes, Grumpy does have a softer side. He's a sucker for nature. Yes. And with that, I think it's time. Up. I don't know why it keeps doing that. Jesus. It always wants to play the... I lost it now. Oh, I'm having one of them days with the music. Here we go. We know where. Grumpy's new studio in the WDWL TV multiplex. And somewhere close to 7 o'clock. Believe me, I'm trying to get to that 7 o'clock, people. And I adjusted the microphone, so I hope the audio is a little better tonight. And with that, friends, I bid you a wonderful rest of your evening. And we will meet again tomorrow night, right here in my studio. And with that, I bid you a good